Hare Krishna, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, third chapter, text number 29. Janma guhyam bhagavato yayetat prayato naraha sayam pratah grunan bhaktya dukkha gramat vimuchyate. Synonyms: Janma, birth; Guhyam, mysterious; Bhagavataha, of the Lord; Yah, one; Etat, all these; Prayataha, carefully; Naraha, man; Sayam, evening; Prataha, morning; Grunan, recites; Bhaktya, with devotion; Dukkha Gramat, from all miseries; Vimuchyate, gets relief from. Translation and purport by Sri S.A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation: Whoever carefully recites the mysterious appearances of the Lord with devotion in the morning and in the evening gets relief from all miseries of life. Purport. Translation and purport by Sri Charnaravind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Purport. In the Bhagavad Gita, the personality of Godhead has declared that anyone who knows the principles of the transcendental birth and activities of the Lord will go back to Godhead after being relieved from this material tabernacle. So, simply knowing factually the mysterious way of the Lord's incarnation in this material world can liberate one from material bondage. Therefore, the birth and activities of the Lord, as manifested by Him for the welfare of the people in general, are not ordinary. They are mysterious, and only by those who carefully try to go deep into the matter by spiritual devotion is the mystery discovered. Thus one gets liberation from material bondage. It is advised therefore that one who simply recites this chapter of Bhagavatam describing the appearance of the Lord in different incarnations in sincerity and devotion can have insight into the birth and activities of the Lord. The very word Vimukti or liberation indicates that the Lord's birth and activities are all transcendental. Otherwise, simply by reciting them, one could not attain liberation. They are therefore mysterious, and those who do not follow the prescribed regulations of devotional service are not entitled to enter into the mysteries of His births and activities. Text 30. Etadrupam bhagavato hi arupasya chidhatmanah maya gunairvirachitam mahadadhibhir atmani. Synonyms: Etat, all these; Rupam, forms; Bhagavataha, of the Lord; He, certainly; Arupasya, of one who has no material form; Chit Atmanaha, of the transcendence; Maya, material energy; Gunaihi, by the qualities; Virachitam, manufactured; Mahat Adibhihi, with the ingredients of matter; Atmani, in the self. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation: The conception of the Virat, universal form of the Lord, as appearing in the material world is imaginary. It is to enable the less intelligent and neophytes to adjust to the idea of the Lord's having form. But factually, the Lord has no material form. Purport: The conception of the Lord known as the Vishwarupa or the Virat Rupa, is particularly not mentioned along with the various incarnations of the Lord, because all the incarnations of the Lord mentioned above are transcendental, and there is not a tinge of materialism in their bodies. There is no difference between the body and self as there is in the conditioned soul. The Virat Rupa is conceived for those who are just neophyte worshippers. For them, the material Virat Rupa is presented, and it will be explained in the second canto. In the Virat Rupa, the material manifestations of different planets have been conceived as his legs, hands, etc. Actually, all such descriptions are for the neophytes. The neophytes cannot conceive of anything beyond matter. The material conception of the Lord is not counted in the list of his factual forms as Paramatma or Super Soul. The Lord is within each and every material form, even within the atoms, but the outward material form is but an imagination, both for the Lord and for the living being. The present forms of the conditioned souls are also not factual. The conclusion is that the material conception of the body of the Lord as Virat is imaginary. Both the Lord and the living beings are living spirits and have original spiritual bodies. Text 31. Yatha nabhasi meghogho renurva parthivo nile evam drashtari drishyatvam aropitam abuddhibhihi. Synonyms: yatha, as it is; nabhasi, in the sky; meghavogaha, a mass of clouds; renuhu, dust; va, as well as; parthivaha, muddiness; anile, in the air; evam, thus; drashtari, to the seer; drishyatvam, for the purpose of seeing; aropitam, is implied; abuddhibhihi, by the less intelligent persons. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation: clouds and dust are carried by the air, but less intelligent persons say that the sky is cloudy and the air is dirty. Similarly, they also implant material bodily conceptions on the spirit self. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It is further confirmed herein that with our material eyes and senses we cannot see the Lord, who is all spirit. We cannot even detect the spiritual spark which exists within the material body of the living being. We look to the outward covering of the body or subtle mind of the living being, but we cannot see the spiritual spark within the body. So we have to accept the living being's presence by the presence of his gross body. Similarly, those who want to see the Lord with their present material eyes or with the material senses are advised to meditate on the gigantic external feature called the Virat Rupa. For instance, when a particular gentleman goes in his car, which can be seen very easily, we identify the car with the man within the car. When the president goes out in his particular car, we say, there is the president. For the time being, we identify the car with the president. Similarly, less intelligent men who want to see God immediately without necessary qualification are shown first the gigantic material cosmos as the form of the Lord. Although the Lord is within and without, the clouds in the sky and the blue of the sky are better appreciated in this connection. Although the bluish tint of the sky and the sky itself are different, we conceive of the color of the sky as blue, but that is a general conception for the layman only. Text 32. Atah param yat avyaktam avyudha guna brahmihitam adrishthashruta vastutvat sajivo yat punarbhavah. Synonyms. Ataha, this, param, beyond, yat, which, avyaktam, unmanifested, avyudha, without formal shape, guna brimhitam, affected by the qualities, adrishtha, unseen, ashruta, unheard, vastutvat, being like that, saha, that, jivaha, living being, yat, that which, punah bhavaha, takes birth repeatedly. Translation and purport by Stoindres. Abhayacharna Aravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Beyond this gross conception of form is another subtle conception of form which is without formal shape and is unseen, unheard and unmanifest. The living being has his form beyond this subtlety, otherwise he could not have repeated births. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As the gross cosmic manifestation is conceived as the gigantic body of the Lord, so also there is the conception of his subtle form, which is simply realized without being seen, heard or manifested. But in fact, all these gross or subtle conceptions of the body are in relation with the living beings. The living being has his spiritual form beyond this gross material or subtle psychic existence. The gross body and psychic functions cease to act as soon as the living being leaves the visible gross body. In fact, we say that the living being has gone away because he is unseen and unheard. Even when the gross body is not acting, when the living being is in sound sleep, we know that he is within the body by his breathing. So, the living being's passing away from the body does not mean that there is no existence of the living soul. It is there, otherwise, how can he repeat his births again and again? The conclusion is that the Lord is eternally existent in his transcendental form, which is neither gross nor subtle like that of the living being. His body is never to be compared to the gross and subtle bodies of the living being. All such conceptions of God's body are imaginary. The living being has his eternal spiritual form, which is conditioned only by his material contamination.